Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Okay, today we're going to have a sort of conversation about dementia and Alzheimer's. Okay, there's been some breaking news about new studies that have come out to show that it's possible now to actually help to repair some of the damage that's caused with dementia. So this is brand new information. It's literally hot off the press. My name is Dharminder. I'm a pharmacist at Keyworth Pharmacy. I've been a pharmacist for 20 years. And it's only really in the last 5 years that we've realised that we need to start helping patients in a more holistic manner. So we need to take into account all of their problems, not just the medical. So for all of you watching online, please let us know where you're watching the video from. Any questions that you have, please put them in the comments box and we'll answer them at the end. So as I was saying, I'm a pharmacist, Keyworth Pharmacy. My passion really is to help people take control of their own health, and we'll facilitate you to do that. Okay. Okay, at our pharmacy in particular, we're very evidence-based. We want to know what is the latest information that is going around, and we'll apply that where necessary to get the best for our patients. In the traditional model of helping people, they used to do symptom control. Yeah, so you get an allergy or an itch, and it gives you a cream and that's finished. A month later you get the itch again. A month later you get the itch again. That's what we call symptom control. The more holistic view is, let's get to the root cause and try and solve the problem. Okay, it just sounds like common sense. That's how we want to do it. So identify and treat the cause. And has anybody heard of prevention is better than cure?
Yes.
Okay, we know that. So that's the ethos we're using. Now, I'd just like to point out this presentation is information for you all, okay? It's not specific medical advice for anyone in particular, because you all have a different health status, okay? So it's important that you take advice from your healthcare professional and do your own research. That's really important. Okay, what will we talk about today? It appears nothing, because okay, here we are. So we're going to talk about what dementia actually is. Can you even prevent it? And if you are already suffering with some of the problems that dementia brings, can you do anything about it and help bring your cognition, your brain functions back? Also, brain boosting nutrition. So there are lots of things out there now that can help with your memory and your brain function. And these are the things we want to share with you today. Okay, before we get started, I like to try and give people an idea of what I mean by healthy. Okay, so being healthy ultimately means being in balance. Okay, now if you can imagine that we have not hundreds or thousands, but we have millions, billions and trillions of individual cells in our body that make us up. Okay, are you all familiar with the concept of a cell in your body? Okay, now one cell connects to a tissue. So a group of cells is a tissue. Tissues then form body organs. Body organs form body systems, and that forms you. So we're going to look at you as the overall. So in this little picture here, we have a picture of a cell membrane, a cell, and we're equating it to a factory. Okay, so you have a little factory in your body. You have nutrients in. Can everybody see this bit here? The nutrients come in. You have a little headquarters, the nucleus telling everybody what to do. There's all the workers doing all their little jobs, making stuff. So they're making things like proteins or new cells. For example, a new skin cell or a new liver cell. Whatever the cell is, it's making it. Okay, so imagine every cell is like a mini factory, and essentially you have to put ingredients in, which are your nutrients. Then you get a product out. It could be a skin cell, a liver cell, a hair cell, a brain cell, which is what we're interested in today. You have a part of the cell that is like the battery of the cell, that's the energy. And then you have another part where waste comes out. All really simple, okay? So you can see there's a few places where you can affect that cell. If you don't put enough nutrients in, if you don't give it enough energy, if you block the waste pipe, and if you have a problem where you need to get the product out. So all this white area here is the surrounding environment of your cell. Okay? If you change the acidity of that, or if you have an infection, you might then alter how well that cell functions. Okay? Now in biological systems in humans, As soon as you change the structure of something, you change the function of it. So that's really important. So how we are trying to heal people now is by making sure that at the cellular level, everything is working well and optimum. So optimum basically means balance. That's why we've got the scales here. The Greek word, when to do with balance, is called homeostasis. Okay, that just means getting everything in balance. For example, people say, well, what's better, day or night? Well, the whole is day and night, isn't it? Yeah, so we just want to restore the balance. I love all these little analogies, so we've got another quick one for you here. Okay, so I've told you about the way that we traditionally have been trying to fix people, which is symptom control. So I want you to imagine these dominoes as our body. Very complicated. Lots of little individual dominoes which are like different processes that happen in your body or chemical reactions. And you'll see how simple the traditional model is and how it's not working for complex conditions like dementia. Okay, so let's see if we can get this to work. Right, so can you see all the little dominoes falling? I call this, and this is my version, the health domino effect. Okay, so we started here with an issue, and it went through umpteen hundred different dominoes falling, and you ended up here. So when you go to the doctor and say, I have an itch here, he's treating you at that point there. Okay, he didn't get to the root, did he? Okay, so this is how we need to evolve the way we're treating people to get to the root cause. Does this make sense? I'm glad I spent time making this yesterday then. Okay, excellent, thank you. Right. Okay, so what is dementia? Now it's a tragic condition in that you can see your nearest and dearest and the loved ones go from somewhere where they were fantastic to somewhere where they can't function particularly well. So this is the bit where we need a little bit of interaction. So as carers of people with dementia, or even know people, does anybody know any of the symptoms of dementia?
Memory loss.
Yeah.
Memory loss, excellent. Any others?
Hallucinations.
Hallucinations, yes. Any more?
Sensory changes.
Sensory changes, yeah.
Lack of judgment.
Lack of judgment, excellent.
Going back in time.
Yes, I hear that often.
Making choices.
But yeah, poor choices. Yes, absolutely. So let's see what the computer says. Right, essentially it's a loss of memory and mental ability that affects your daily life. So that could be almost anything. You know, things that you do, even putting clothes on, getting in a car, forgetting how to change gear. These things unfortunately are what are happening, and these are not part of the normal ageing process. Okay, this is why dementia is such a big problem. Okay, most common form of dementia, almost 2/3, even up to 80%, is Alzheimer's disease. Okay, and for those people that have Alzheimer's, again, about most of them, 2/3 is females. Okay, and for females today in the UK, Alzheimer's and dementia is the #1 killer above heart disease and cancer. So we have a big problem on our hands that we need to address. Every 20 years, the number of people suffering with dementia doubles. Now, our NHS is already strapped for cash, and if they continue with the same way of treating people, it will run out very shortly. So we need to do something about it, and that is the holistic approach. Did you know Parkinson's is a form of dementia? So essentially, anything that is affecting your brain function, meaning that your nerve cells are dying off, is a form of dementia. Okay, so you mentioned some of these symptoms earlier. So memory loss, changes in mood, misplacing things. The amount of times I have patients, carers, calling me to say, where are the medicines? And we've delivered them, we've had a signature. The #1 place I've found is go and check the dustbin. I'm not joking. People have put their medicines in the dustbin without realising. Or they're in the cupboard that they never use. and then we're having to make new medicines, and you know. So what else? Hard to complete a familiar task. Some people become a recluse. They don't want to go out. They don't want to socialise anymore. So I mentioned poor judgment. Can't get your words out properly. Okay. Has anybody ever seen this clock test? Anybody familiar with this?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
The clock test. Okay, you can find it online. A lot of healthcare professionals use this, and it's important normally that you have a bit of knowledge when you use these types of things. But as a very quick tool for yourselves, all you have to do is draw a clock, okay? And you set the time. So let's say you say 9:45, okay? If you can't draw that clock, as you would imagine you should be able to, you may have a bit of a problem. That doesn't automatically mean that you've got dementia. It means that you need to look into why is there a problem. So for example, on here, that's somebody who can draw a circle to present. People can go from this back to this. And this is the first, because for so many years they've said there's no cure, there's no help that we can give you. So this is why I'm so excited to get this information out. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about what drives the problems of dementia. Okay, people often say, well, it could be my genes. It's in my genetics, I can't do anything about it. So, if you have this gene, APOE4, it's essentially a gene that makes something that carries fats around in your body. You have it to varying degrees, because there's a few different types of it. It can mean your risk of getting dementia increases from 9 to up to 90%. Okay? So, people next say, well, can you test for this gene? Absolutely, you can. So then you can forewarn yourself that, okay, I have this gene, I need to do things about it so that I don't get dementia, and that is possible. I've just come back from a conference from Barcelona where I was talking to some of the top professors who are looking into these conditions, and they've told me that they've been barking up the wrong tree looking at some of the proteins that are made in the brain, because it's thought that these proteins are super negative. In fact, they were there to try and protect you. But if you leave your condition unchecked, it gets worse and worse and worse, and that's when the proteins make your brain not work anymore. But we'll touch on that a bit later. So, if you have this gene, what is going to be the difference of whether you get the problem or not? And they've found by research, it's the standard Western diet. So in the diet that we're sort of having today, which is more of processed food than we've ever had in the whole history of humankind, that alongside that gene means you're more likely to get dementia. So if you've got the variant of the gene that gives you a 90% chance of getting dementia, you will get it if you're on that diet. If you are on a healthier diet, which we're going to share with you, there's a good chance you won't even get it at all. And if you go onto the diet and the lifestyle changes, you can reverse some of the problems that you may have got already. So, what we're trying to say is that the genes that you're born with load the gun. However, it's the environment and your lifestyle that pulls the trigger on it. So yes, you have a lot of control. And this is what the doctors are discovering, that you can do something about it. Okay, so we're going to talk about all the other drivers of dementia. Now, Professor Bredesen has said there's about 45 plus different parameters that are driving dementia. I'm going to talk to you today about the few that you can do something about. And these can have a profound effect to help you prevent dementia. And let's not forget, it can take 20 years to develop dementia. Yeah, so if you're 50, 60, the likelihood is if you don't change something, you may end up with dementia. And if you develop dementia over the age of 80, the decline is rapid. Okay, so this is why you need to take heed of what these things are and expand your awareness about them.
Yes.
So I call this a wheel, and there's lots of spokes on the wheel. And the short, in a nutshell, all these things, if not done properly, lead to inflammation. Has everybody heard of that word?
Yeah.
So the problem with the brain when someone's got dementia is chronic inflammation. Okay, so the key is, let's cut down inflammation. So We don't have time to go through each of them in detail, but you're going to have the headlines of it. Stress. The more stress in our day-to-day life, the more inflammation we'll end up with. We're going to get stress. It's part and parcel of life. You have to have methods and strategies that can help you deal with it. Okay? Whether you go and sit under a tree and meditate, you need to do something. Sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, 6 to 7 hours, your body does not repair and recuperate properly. If you leave your computer on forever, will it go slow? Yes. So that's what's happening to us. We're not getting enough sleep. Good quality sleep. Physical activity. Does anybody walk it here today, or do you come in cars or buses?
Well, we walked and then bus.
Okay, so 50, 60 years ago, you had no choice. You was walking or on the bus. So we're doing less exercise. And exercise could mean just walking. Simple. Gut health. Anybody heard of the word probiotic?
Yes.
Okay, and let me share a secret with you. 70% of your whole immune system is how well your gut is working. Okay? And that means you need the right balance of good bacteria. So if your gut is not working, tip top, you will be having problems, for sure. So that needs to be attended to. Infections. Everybody's heard of viruses, bacteria. Your immune system, guess how it works? It works by causing inflammation. So inflammation is a part and parcel of our normal life. When it comes in, when it's supposed to. Because we're living in a time where we've got chronic inflammation all the time, there's no rest. Okay, and this is why we're getting the changes. Environmental toxins. Now I'm going to tell you a few that you probably haven't heard of. Washing up liquid, makeup, toothpaste, anything that is inorganic that your body might see it as stressing you. Okay, so again, if you rewind the clock, most things were pretty organic and natural, and your body's used to it, it can recognise it. As soon as you start putting things in like margarine, they're more chemical, and your body says, how do I deal with it? It doesn't even know that it's food, and that it causes inflammation. Sunshine, have we been lacking that at the moment? Yeah, we're in the heart of winter. So we know that we're not getting enough vitamin D, and the government is telling everybody, please supplement with vitamin D. And it's important that you get quality vitamin D and the right amount to do all the prevention work. Last but not least, diet. Has anybody ever heard you are what you eat? Okay, it's an old saying. And another saying I love from Hippocrates, about 2,000 years ago, he says, let medicine be thy food and food be thy medicine. He was right, we're just catching up with that information now. So if your diet is poor, consists of a lot of processed food, you will be developing inflammation, and that will be leading you on the way to getting dementia. Okay? So again, when we look at medicines normally, we want to make one drug for one problem. Can you see how it's far more complicated? All of these things affect it. Now we're talking predominantly about dementia today, but really this is the plan for good health no matter what. So if you can appreciate and have an awareness of these things, and then you'll be healthy anyway. Okay, so all the research says now vitamin D is a new wonder vitamin. It's actually more like a hormone, and hormones work really at the regulatory level in your body to control thousands of processes. So they've been linking it with helping against cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, depression, dementia, you name it, vitamin D is involved in it. Make sure you have the right amount. And we mentioned toxins. Toxins are things like we said, pesticides, pollution from cars, other chemicals that are in your daily life. These things can cause inflammation, so again, be mindful of those. Has anybody heard of the word neurotoxin? Anybody guess what that means? So neuro means nerve, toxin means toxic. So these are toxic to your neurons in your brain. So let's see if we recognise any of them. Anybody ever had a diet drink? Right, so artificial sweeteners, aspartame. It is proven that one, it's a neurotoxin, it's not good for your brain cells, and two, it actually causes cancer. So if you feed rats with that and mice, they'll get cancer. So they've told us all the information already. MSG, monosodium glutamate. Anybody heard of that? It goes in all the processed foods, and even today they don't even have to label it properly anymore. Okay? Now, in our brains we have a couple of chemicals that float about. One excites your brain and one depresses your brain. Glutamate excites your brain, and that contributes to the inflammation, and it gets out of balance. So if you're having it in your processed foods, then you're going to get these problems. Sucralose, it's in lots of sugar-free preparations. It gives people migraines, headaches, and it kills your good bacteria in your gut and stops you from absorbing the good vitamins that you take in. Aluminium, mercury, everybody heard of those? Yeah, I mean, they've even banned the mercury thermometers now, haven't they? Yeah, because it makes you mad as a hatter, because it sticks in your brain. This is where that saying comes from. Fluoride, anybody, where do we get fluoride from?
Toothpaste.
Yeah, water, toothpaste. So I'm not telling you immediately to run out and ditch your toothpaste. I'm saying be mindful of the fact that it can act as a neurotoxin. Okay. These other things, hydrolyzed veg protein, calcium, sodium cessanate, again MSG, they're in processed food. So hopefully the message is coming across that a lot of the problems might be in the processed food that we are eating and not even realising that they're toxic to us. Okay? Okay.
So does that mean something like Marmite, which is yeast extract? Is that?
So potentially, yes.
Because that's one so many people used to eat.
Absolutely, yeah, because it's got vitamins in it, biotin, and some other good stuff. But unfortunately, it's how does it affect your brain? Yeah, so if you can, instead of having it as a spread, get it from your diet, you know, the vitamins from all the different elements of your diet is far better. Yeah. Now, I apologise, this slide's very busy, okay? Now, I'll give you the headlines of the slide. That's the brain. Everybody recognise that as a brain, okay? Now, all those things, those spokes on the wheel that I talked about, contribute to inflammation, okay? And remember I mentioned a neurotransmitter, glutamate, and then the opposite one is GABA. Lots of these things basically cause too much glutamate, which then it ramps up your brain, gets it too excited, and it gets inflamed. Once it's inflamed, it starts a repetitive cycle, a downhill cycle. So then you start getting changes in the structure of your brain. So you get these proteins formed, beta amyloid plaques. Now, when they go past 30% of your brain is full of these plaques, a switch has now been switched on that says, no matter what you do now, is going to be a problem because your brain function is going less and less and less. What the actual professor told me last week, he said that this inflammation in your brain is supposed to protect you. For example, your brain says, right, this person's got these infections now, okay, so what do? We can either let them die of an infection, or we'll get a protein to cover that infection and keep it to one side, and we'll deal with it. And then, so it makes a decision, well, what can I give up in your function so you can stay alive? What it says is, I'll tell you what we'll do. Short-term memory, we'll let that go. Yeah, we'll keep your old memories of when you was at school, or you know, when you was learning stuff. But any new memories, there's no room in the filing cabinet, because we need to switch that off because we need to fight this infection or this inflammation that's coming. I thought, this is remarkable. And then what he told me was, now what happens is, if people don't realise about all the things that are causing the inflammation, your brain then says, well, this person's not getting the message. We need to do something about this. We need to shut another part of the brain down. This is how your cells slowly start to die off. Does this make sense? So they're dying off, unless you do something about it. And at the moment, we've not been doing anything about it because we didn't know what to do. Now we know there's 45 different things, that wheel and spoke, these are the things that we need to do, so your brain can say, yes, we've dealt with that, we won't make any more of these beta amyloid plaques, and you restore your function. With the right nutrition and lifestyle, you can then repair the damage that's been done, and then get back to being normal again. So this is why this is amazing stuff. So this is the good bit, because it's been a bit solemn so far. Okay, so the new research. This chap, his name is Professor Dale Bredesen. He's been trying to find the cure for Alzheimer's for the last 28 years. He's an absolute genius. He's a molecular biologist, and a mathematician. His wife is a doctor in America. And he said, "Dear, I'm going to get the cure." After 28 years, he said, "There is no single cure for this. There's lots of different things, and we need to have a holistic approach to fixing this complex problem." And the approach is really simple: diet and lifestyle intervention. Monitoring the inflammation in your body, basically. It's called the Bredesen protocol. If you only do one thing after today's talk, it is Google Dale Bredesen and the Bredesen protocol. Now there's another chap who has taken his book and put it down as a summary. Really super stuff, and you can find me later and I'll tell you how to find him. But there's a lot of things to do, so you have to do them stepwise, otherwise it's overwhelming. We can help you with this. The diet, lifestyle, nutrition bit, we've got that bit covered. It's really simple, and we've been doing that already. Okay, there's so much research out there, there's a few references there, but ultimately they're trying to sort out your insulin resistance, stop you getting diabetes. Basically, if you keep in good health, you're not going to get the problem. That's what he's saying. If you've slipped into getting some dementia problems, then you can just about reverse it, depending upon how much changes have happened in your brain. Okay? So, diet. Okay. I don't like to use the word diet because it sounds like a short-term thing. Really, we want to talk about healthy eating. And in order for you to get on board with this Bredesen protocol, it takes an open mind and the realization that the things that you may have been doing, you might need to change them. Even the GPs and the doctors and the scientists have to come around to that way of thinking now. Follow the evidence, and the evidence is showing it clearly. So, it's really hard to get all the things you need from your diet alone, unless you are living on your own farm. Anybody live on a farm here? Grow all their own stuff? And yeah, not many of us do anymore. Okay, the new farm is called Asda, Tesco, Sainsbury's, etc., etc. And it's all packaged nicely, and it looks pretty, and you know, it's processed. And this is the problem: we haven't got any time. So if you actually study how much nutrition is in today's food, it's very poor compared to what it used to be. So your plate might look fantastic, but I'm doing what they tell me, it's 5 a day. Why are you still in the pharmacy then? Yeah, I should be meeting you at the gym or the health shop. So, unfortunately, aging reduces your ability to absorb nutrients. Okay, wear and tear, it happens to us all. Okay. So, again, just to remind you, it's not just one thing. It's not just diet. It's many, many things that we need to look at. Okay. So, just a very brief word about statins. Now, before I talk about it, I am not telling anybody to stop taking their statins. Okay? That decision is between you and your doctor. Okay? What we will say is that recent studies are showing that statins potentially can increase your risk to get Parkinson's and dementia. Now, has anybody ever read the leaflet of the statins? Because it does say on there that it can cause memory loss. Now, what is dementia? It's a problem with a bit of memory, isn't it? So we know, look, there's pros and cons with everything. So we need to weigh up the risks, okay? Talk to your GP, your pharmacist about it, and make the right decision for yourself. Now, some of these negative side effects can be mitigated or improved if you take coenzyme Q10. Now, if you remember way back to that first slide where we've got a cell, in there was an energy centre. Coenzyme Q10 ensures that you're at 100% power. Yeah, so if you need to get rid of toxins out your cell, you need power. If you need to make stuff, you need power. The Q10 helps with that. But it doesn't take away all the side effects of the statins. So you still need to be mindful of that. Another side effect of statins, and we know that insulin resistance can contribute to you getting dementia in the first place. So another side effect of statins is that it can cause type 2 diabetes. Okay, now we are going for a big boom of that at the moment. So again, we need to be mindful of this. Manage the risks accordingly. So we've got a few references there. Okay, so less stress equals a more efficient body.
Mr Singh,
Mm.
have you got some of this information for people to take away with them today, or how?
Not today, but we're going to generate some form of leaflet
Right.
or information sheet which you'll be able to get from the pharmacy. Yeah, and again, because we're going to put this presentation on YouTube, on Keyworth Pharmacy's website, if you're missing something today, because I'm rushing through it, you can watch it back in your own time, and then you'll be able to get the references off there. And if you do use Facebook, you should find it on Facebook also. So, less stress equals more efficient body. Now, we call this a food pyramid. It's slightly different to the current NHS one. And this is based on I'll call it the whole market research of what's up to date at the moment. The bottom of your pyramid should be as much organic, fresh vegetables as possible. Now, your vegetable is the ultimate superfood in that it doesn't have any calories, but it's packed full of minerals and vitamins. Okay? Now, in the past, people used to grow their own. Yeah, and it was really healthy and efficient. Now, we're having to get it from Brazil or Spain or wherever. Okay, so there's more travel and more pollutions on it. The next thing, healthy fats. Okay, so for the last 30, 40 years, I've been telling you that fat is really bad for you. Certain types of fat, processed fat, is not good for you because they make trans fats in your body. Healthy organic fats are what your body is absolutely crying out for because you make neurotransmitters and hormones from fat. Did you all know that your brain is about 60% fat? Did you know that cholesterol, the brain makes, is so important to the brain that your brain makes its own cholesterol? Absolutely essential. If you eat the right types of fat, your body is more likely to burn fat. If you eat a lot of carbs, you're more likely to store fat. So you can either be a fat burning machine or a fat storage machine. You get to make that choice. So, healthy fats, vegetables. Next, protein, so meat and fish, okay, or vegetable sources of protein. Now, whenever I talk about food, I mean organic food. Yeah, so the food that's got the least amount of antibiotics, the least amount of toxins in it. Yes, it will cost far more money than the ordinary stuff, but that's why. Because everybody's more having the processed, which makes it cheaper than the organic. We need to put pressure on the people that supply. Support your local butcher. Support your local veg man. Okay, that's what we say. Next, fruits. Yes, eating fruit seasonally is fantastic. And I don't mean fruit juice. We mean the whole fruit, so you get the full fibre and you don't get all the sugar that's released in a fruit juice. Now, people will say, well, how many a day portions of veg do I need? It says 5 a day, or is it 7? Well, if you look at the numbers, you need about 20 portions. It's not likely to happen, is it? So, it's fine to vegetable juice, not fruit juice. The occasional fruit juice is fine. But if you want to get jam-packed for the nutrition, you want organic veg and you want to juice it. At the very top is grains and sugars. Okay? Again, sugars means insulin has to come out for more. People are getting too many carbohydrates, which are sugars, which include wheat, bread, pasta, rice, all the things that we like and used to. Grains, they contain gluten. It's another strong protein that your body, it causes inflammation. Yeah, so we're feeding the wrong parts of our body. That's why, if you can avoid it, it's even better. People say, well, won't I starve? I say, well, the test is this. You look in the mirror, and like me, if you've got a couple of extra batteries, I call them, you'll be fine. Okay? Focus your energy on your veg, your fats and your proteins, you'll automatically get a few carbs in there. Okay? This is what the research is showing anyway. Okay, so there's been a lot of work. Professor Noakes in South Africa, a high-fat, low-carb diet is protective for your neurons in your brain. So the more healthy fats you get, again, your brain is bathed in these fats, the more protection it is for your brain. Anybody ever heard of intermittent fasting? Yeah, it's so crucial. If you do any of these fasting, doctor's supervision, basically the caveman used to do intermittent fasting. He used to get up in the morning, look around, there's no breakfast made, walk around for about 5 hours, at the midday hopefully he'd find some nuts and berries. He'd eat something. He'd then hopefully get a bit of energy, start chasing around a mammoth. And if he was very lucky, he might get a piece of it, okay? If he wasn't, he was back to fasting again. And we forgot the actual meaning of words, because in the morning, breakfast means break, fast. Yeah, so we've just got to go back to basics. And if you do that type of intermittent fasting, you make something called brain-derived neurotropic factor, which basically nourishes your brain and heals and regenerates new brain cells. So if you adopt this new healthy lifestyle, you'll be making the things that actually fix your brain. Proven. Ketogenic diets. So again, they're diets that consist of a lot of fat. Okay? And if your body is running on fat, it's far more efficient than running on carbs. So, we're going to move on to talking about a few key supplements that can help boost and repair your brain function. There's some important things coming up. If you have any questions, the viewers at home, please post them and we'll answer them at the end later on this evening. So again, the supplements are part of your overall strategy, okay? It's not just one thing, because we're very used to getting a magic pill. There isn't one, I'm afraid. Vitamin D, we mentioned that. Vitamin K2, we used to get in organic butter from cows that eat grass. You'll be shocked that it's really hard to find that now, because cows don't eat grass anymore, apparently. Probiotics, they're the good bacteria. Now, you might need them in your gut, you might need them for your mouth, and you might need them for your nose. Multivitamins. So again, we mentioned that the veg and the food is lacking nutrition. So simply just top up where you need it. Vitamin Bs, amazing for your nerve function. Again, it's part of a balance that we need those to work. Anybody heard of coconut oil? There's been a lot of studies that say it actually helps to repair your brain function. We've got a lot of people who seem to have a lot of benefits from taking that. Anecdotally, in the pharmacy, they come and they buy it. So the research seems to show, yes, it can have a positive effect on your brain function. Again, you have to manage the amount of calories that you take in also. Turmeric, another amazing superfood, very anti-inflammatory, very healing. If you do buy turmeric as a capsule, make sure you get it with the black pepper in it, because it makes it far more absorbable. Okay. Coenzyme Q10 is an amazing supplement. It's the powerhouse of every single cell in your body. It's a very potent antioxidant. So all the things causing inflammation, it goes and mops them up. Really important. Magnesium. You know, anybody who gets a shaky leg or cramp or insomnia, very common, about 60% of the UK suffering with a problem. We get magnesium from green leafy veg. And again, we might be eating it, but we're still getting problems. You might need to top up. Omega-3, it's an essential fatty acid. You need that, it's so essential for you. Your body cannot make it. So we get this from oily fish. Yeah, so it's really important we get it from flaxseed. So if you want a vegetarian source. The more of that you get, the less inflammation you have in your body. CBD oil, this has been in the news recently. Has anybody heard of this? Cannabis oil? Right, so this is being talked about for lots of different health conditions. It's sold as a nutritional supplement, and it seems to work on a system in your body called the endocannabinoid system. And they've only known about that since about 1990. But it seems to be helping to regulate and balance lots of different systems in your body. So it doesn't work at the very end of the domino, it works more at the regulatory level. It seems to be having a lot of good results by promoting relaxation and well-being, and we have literally just got some in the pharmacy. So,
is that not prescription only, or is that?
It's not.
You just buy it.
It's a nutritional supplement. Yeah. So you have to be. It's better to get advice when you buy it, because it can interfere with certain medications. Yeah, and interact with certain foods. But a lot of people seem to be getting a lot of well-being from it, so that's why I mentioned it. Chlorella is an algae which goes around and mops up heavy metals out of your body. Again, another amazing thing. So you can add that as part of your regime and try and clean some of the toxins that we know are causing inflammation. Okay, so in summary, assess the drivers of the condition. So remember, go back to the wheel. and all the different spokes, so the exercise, the stress, the sleep, the diet, the toxins, all those things you need to be aware of to try and help manage your condition. Ditch the processed foods, I can't emphasise it anymore, okay? Plenty of quality vegetables, organic, healthy fats and proteins, and be mindful of trying to move towards a higher fat, low carbohydrate diet. Anytime you change what you're doing, for example diet wise, it's a good idea to run it past your GP. Yeah, because of you've got different health statuses. Exercise, sleep and water. Most people in the room are probably dehydrated. If you're not drinking at least 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, you will be dehydrated. Every drink that you have that is not pure water is dehydrating you. So for every cup of tea you have an extra glass of water. Yeah, you really want to be going to sleep on about 6 to 8 glasses throughout the day. Yeah. Obviously, you might be getting up all night to go to the loo. Keep the water earlier on. But as your body starts to come back into balance, your body can then process the water. So it's remarkable how everything fits into place like a jigsaw. Right, so we've talked about essential supplements to help your metabolism, so you can get rid of the toxins and repair stuff. So these include vitamin D, magnesium, multivitamins, probiotics, etc. Again, you're going to do one thing, review the Bredesen protocol. And if you put in the word biohacks, Alzheimer's, into Google, you'll come up with a chap who has summarised the Bredesen protocol. And you'll say, it looks like a lot of stuff to do. I've tried to break it down into simple chunks, stepwise, so that you have an idea of what you can do for yourselves. If you want a tailor-made plan, we can provide that for you. Please get in touch. So you can get us at the pharmacy by telephone, Facebook, Instagram. Right, do you have any questions?
No.